Episode 129, Delegation versus Do-It-Yourself.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
It's almost Friday, and kind of brings me back to that episode which we made about, how you're working towards the weekend and how that for some people, that's actually the zenith of their existence is, working from weekend to weekend to relax, to pursue their hobbies, which just to kind of get this work-life balance thing in order. And it kind of brought me back to that episode because I had a very funny experience with that. In that sense, welcome to the very best podcast in the world, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Now, if you run across an episode, right? Sometimes for you, it's not going to be very helpful. For other people, it may be. It may also be therefore your obligation to be a good person and to help others grow by sharing this episode with someone. I'm going to keep it short today, right? If you can do so by, kind of subscribing to the podcast, listening to the episodes. If you find one valuable for someone friends, family, coworker, whatever, send it to them. Right? Help them grow and to rid themselves of an issue which they may have. In that sense, delegation versus doing it yourself. I attended numerous leadership trainings where one core component, kind of like a recurring theme, was delegation. And while, yes, it is important, right, in a leadership role to be able to delegate, there are very many opportunities where you should just get your shit together and do it yourself. Because here's an important thing they don't teach you in leadership trainings about delegation, is that you end up delegating everything and you become incompetent in surviving yourself, literally. Right? Because if you have your secretary run up to your coffee machine to fetch you a coffee, there's something wrong with your life. You're not that important, period. Right? No discussions. And if you don't know how to operate a washing machine because you delegate that to your wife, boy, number one, welcome to the 21st century. And I say this as someone who for many years wasn't able to operate a fucking washing machine because I never had to. I spent over a decade in hotels. What do? There's this magic bag in every hotel. There's a magic paper slip where you kind of cross the number of items that you have in that bag. And the next morning, your bag comes back. Everything is pressed. Everything is folded. Everything is good. Everything is honky-dory. And there you go. Right? But it's about learning, right? It's about doing shit yourself. And this episode, however, is about delegating short tasks. And it's about the fact that some people who delegate hold these ginormous speeches on why this task is so important and why it hasn't been done, and yada, 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 right? And the thing is, during this speech, during their anger, during their, whatever emotion they have attached to this, they could have gone and done it themselves. And nothing would have to be raised. No shit would have to be raised out of this, right? Period. So, it's mainly about this because, sometimes doing a task yourself is more effective than delegating it. And that's what a lot of people forget, right? And it's therefore important to consider minute things like health aspects of doing the things yourself, because, you have to get off your ass and you have to move physically. Therefore, just alone considering delegation is only valuable for tasks that take you longer and actually decrease your workload. Again, the example with going to fetch a coffee. What's more efficient, with today's modern coffee machines? Is it like calling your secretary? Your secretary gets up, gets you the coffee, brings it to you. You've saved maybe 3 minutes, effectively. No, not effectively. Because if you would have gotten your own ass up, you could have saved the call to your secretary. She, has to interrupt her work. Obviously, you're already interrupting your work because you have an urge for a coffee, right? So you have already interrupted your pattern, right? So go make your fucking coffee yourself. And if you don't have a secretary that tells you that, you have a bad secretary. Right? That's just, I don't know, one of these examples where I don't understand people, that think that they're such great leaders that they are too important to get their own ass up out of their chair, go make the fucking coffee themselves. That being said, there are many positive implications, right? I mentioned, for instance, just now, the health aspect, right? You physically move. You exercise, right? You get your blood circulation going. You perhaps stop by the coffee machine and someone is there that you can easily talk to and get an issue out of the world, which would have otherwise taken you half an hour to write a fucking email for. It's happened to me. This whole socializing aspect at work is totally underrated, right? Perhaps you you spend your time in meetings. Don't. Meetings are the most useless thing, unless there's a lunch attached to it or free food, is the most useless thing you can actually participate in. That's where you send your secretary to take notes and take this 2-hour meeting down to 10 minutes. You get the briefing from your secretary, and then you're good to go. You've got all the facts. You don't have the bullshit that's been filtered out. And if you've got a good secretary, they're going to be able to explain to you what happened in the meeting, what the consequences are for your department that you're running. And there you go, right? So that's where you effectively delegate personnel, right? I've had that on so many contracts, where all of these meetings were totally spiraled out of proportions with, personal vanity issues happening. The cornflower blue logo wasn't, whatever. No, don't go there. There's more important things to do. And if it is standing outside smoking a cigarette, finding someone you've been meaning to talk to for ages, they just leave the building, you're there, smoking a cigarette, and you're like, oh, wait, Tom, we just, this quick thing, and boom, done, finished. You don't have to write an email. You don't have to contemplate about what you're going to say to Tom. Tom is there, boom, catch him, arrest him. Tell him, look, I've got this issue. Let's solve it right quick. And Tom's going to be like, okay, there we go. Boom. Now, I mentioned earlier the positive implication of doing it yourself versus, delegation is you learn shit. I learned how to operate a washing machine when I was, 36, because I wasn't living in a hotel anymore. And I didn't need dry cleaning. So I was like, okay, how does this thing work? You look into it. Luckily I have my better half who taught me. And still, I was able to perfect the workflow of doing that. And it's as easy as, a bunch of chores being done around the house. Just do the fucking garden yourself. Not only will you be able to appreciate what's going on in the garden, and you will notice things like how flowers grow and how majestic that is and how unique. It's like other things are, home improvement things. It's like, if you don't know how to do it, there's a fucking YouTube video for it. Just search what you're wanting to. I just did that today, because we've got this fire pit in the backyard that I want to put rocks under in a certain way. And I just watched, half an hour's worth of YouTube videos, and, I was going to go out, purchase the stones and put them in the garden. Boom, done. Easy. And the cool thing is you actually get back in touch with your senses, right? You've got the sense of touch. That is totally underrated because we don't touch anything anymore. Number one, in these Rona times, it's icky. It's like, ugh, I got to touch something someone else touch. Yeah, there you go. But feeling the feeling of moist soil and how moist it has to be for plants to grow in it is totally magic. It's something that is totally fucking underrated, but it's stuff we don't touch anymore because, our hands get dirty. Ooh, there's a secret to that. Washing them, should be doing anyhow. There we go. It's like there's so much you can learn by just doing shit yourself. And, there's another positive aspect of earning money, but that's not what this is, saving money. Sorry, but that's not what this is about. This is about really getting back in touch and using your fucking senses to learn something while not delegating it. And you'll be amazed at what you can learn and you can do, with a proper amount of work that you put into it, if you just want to. So we had the professional setting, we had the private setting. I hope I was able to convey what I was actually meaning, how you can, actually benefit from doing stuff yourself versus delegating it, despite the fact that in every leadership training, you're going to get the importance of delegating and, like it is the holy grail of, no, it's not. It is seriously fucking not. There are so many things that you need to really do yourself to be able to be effective and efficient. And it's not about sealing yourself off. You're not that important. Get out of here. Face it. So in that sense, if this episode was helpful to someone, where you're thinking like, that person could actually, use a kick in the ass about delegating too much, or getting excited about a thing that has been delegated and hasn't been done, just do it your fucking self. Don't bother. The energy you put into actually, getting yourself into that negative mindset is, it's just not worth it. Anyhow, long story short, that was today's episode. If you think someone could learn from it, send it to them. Now, share it. You can only, you can do that better by subscribing to the podcast, listen to my random ramblings about health, wealth, and happiness and personal superiority and whatever. And have a good rest of your Thursday. And if you have already had your Thursday, if it's over for you, have a good night and sleep well. Leave your hands above the blanket. We will be back in touch tomorrow for Exercise Friday when we're going to talk about the ego piggy bank. Yeah, there you go. So, without wanting to spoil more, have a good night, have a good day, whatever it is. Stay safe. Leave your hands. We've got everything covered. See you tomorrow. Peace out.